hello, welcome back to another weekly reading vlog. I haven't had a weekly reading vlog in a long time. It's probably been like 2 months maybe, I don't totally know. Lots of things are different in my life, lots of things have happened. I will update you all as briefly as possible, but I did wake up this morning and I am sick, which absolutely sucks because I was quite literally sick at the beginning of April. And I'm sick again now at the midpoint of May, so it hasn't even been a month and a half. My coworker did a really dumb thing, which was come to work sick and then get up all my business, even though I was telling her not to. But it's Sunday and things are a little bit different in my life. First off, I am currently reading Book of Night, which I'm kind of hoping to finish up today. I have like 110 pages left, I believe it is. I'm not loving it, but I'll talk about this later when I do finish it. And then I'm also reading Gone Girl, which is my audiobook, and I wasn't loving it, but I'm kind of getting into it, and I will talk about that more later as well. What's going on in my life? The wedding is done. I'm so excited to be done with that. We had a really fun day actually, and it was a really good time. I currently don't have any pictures from the wedding, and I thought I was gonna try to film some stuff for you all to put into a vlog for you to see, because you've been hearing me talk about it. I didn't think about how busy I would be as the maid of honor, and I didn't think about how little I would actually have my phone on me. When I got my phone back that night, I basically hadn't had it from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. I couldn't believe how many people, I had told them I was going to be in a wedding that day and to not contact me. And I'm not here to brag about oh my God, I have text messages, but just so many people that day. On a normal day, nothing. My phone would have had nothing on it. But on the day of the wedding, of course, everyone needed me. So the wedding is done and it went beautifully, and I'm hoping to get some pictures soon. My car is in the shop, and it might be in the shop for a really long time. It, about 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point, made a horrible noise and then started shaking, and I had to get it into the dealer. It's been a long journey to get here, but basically my entire engine it's gone. It's done for. And the good news is, after 2 weeks of figuring things out and fighting and crying repeatedly, Hyundai, which is what my car is, will be covering it completely. So that's great news. So they have me in a rental right now. It took forever to get the rental, but they have me in a rental, and they said that I could be in the rental for 2 weeks. I could be in the rental for 5 months. They don't know. It's good. It's being taken care of, and I don't have to pay anything, which was half of why I was crying, because it was going to cost me upwards of $6,000. Other news, Fridays off of work have officially started. This weekend had my second one, although this Friday I did give up a lot of my time to help out planning for my sister-in-law's baby shower, which went off like a hit. It was beautiful, it was smashing, and it was a lot of fun too. I definitely did a lot of work for it, but it was worth it and it was good. And so moving forward, in case you're unawares, my Fridays I am giving up at my physical job so that I can start working for myself and figuring out creatively what I want to be doing. So far, I'm not making any money doing that, but it's been 2 weeks and I haven't, as I said, been able to put as much effort into it as I wanted to. But if you are so inclined, I do have my Etsy and my Redbubble listed down below. And even if it's just to give me a like on something, that means the world to me. I'm gonna go to my parents' house because they are out of town, and I'm going to pick up their humidifier because my throat and my sinuses are hurting. And then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna edit some videos, and then I'm literally just going to sit and rest the rest of today. I have a video I need to film, but it's all gonna depend on how I am feeling. So I finished Gone Girl yesterday, and then I pretty quickly realized that my hold for the audiobook for Discord of Gods was going to be due back in on Tuesday. So instead of finishing up Book of Night, I started that. And my goal is to get it done before the hold comes in. Or the hold goes out, I guess, technically. So I am on chapter 47. Ah, that's my favorite number. How much fun. Yesterday, I made it to page 70, chapter 14. And then today, I'm here. So this is as much as I have read today. I still have a good chunk to get through, but my goal tonight is to get to chapter 70. So let me see where that is for you all. Oh, right here. So it's not even like that much more, to be completely honest. I think when I do the math, it's like an hour and a half of listening still. I can totally do that. Have a grand old fun old time. I probably should talk to you about that, but first I really need to sit and talk about Gone Girl with you all, right? So let's get comfy here. Gone Girl is a Gillian Flynn book. As of last week, I had not read a single Gillian Flynn. I was in such a mood last week that I read 3 of them pretty close to in 4 days. I read Sharp Objects in 24 hours, and then I read Dark Places in just about 24 hours. And then Gone Girl took me 3 days simply because I was prepping for the baby shower this past weekend, so I didn't get to sit and marathon it like I wanted to. Now, saying that, I didn't love any of them. Sharp Objects I thought was okay, and then the ending slapped. I thought the Dark Places was more interesting in the beginning and then just kind of like teetered off into like, okay, I don't really care anymore. And then Gone Girl, for the first 45%, I was like, I hate this book. I hate it. I'm going to rate it 2 stars. This book is awful. And then it changed. It changed. And my friend like messaged me today because we were talking about it. I read these 3 books for her because, well, one, I was in a funk and I needed something to read that wasn't my norm. And so she suggested them. So I've been updating her as I've been reading them. And she was like, what happened? What's the change? And I was like, I think what happened is the characters went from being awful characters who thought they were good people to being awful characters who knew they were awful characters. And I could get behind that. Gone Girl is the story of a woman who goes missing. You're following, for at least the first half, 2 timelines where it's her husband in the present day where she has gone missing. It starts out like the morning before she goes missing or the morning she goes missing. She hasn't gone missing yet, and then it goes up until like the police investigating it for the next few weeks, but you're following him because he is definitely suspicious. And then you're following her diary entries from the time that her and her husband first met and fell in love and then got married and then moved to the place where they're at, and eventually leading up to when she goes missing. I liked the idea of that, but I absolutely, like I said, like could not get behind her husband was awful. He was an awful man, and he thought that he could do no wrong and that he was a great husband. And you could tell very obviously from the 2 POVs that neither one of them was reliable because the information they were giving you was like conflicting. And so I knew that, and I did not trust him. And it felt like he was super charismatic and this great person and that I should be trusting him, but I never did trust him, and so I couldn't get into it. And then it also felt like the woman who was writing the diary was like this nice, sweet, innocent girl who like didn't know any better, and I felt like she wasn't. Like there was just this feeling inside of me that I was like, I don't like this, I don't trust this. And it ended up working to my favor because the second half you get to see both of them for who they truly are, and I actually really enjoyed that. So I did end up rating it a 3.5 because the beginning half was so slow and boring and bad in my personal opinion that I couldn't rate it 4 stars, but the second half of the book is definitely a 4-star book. I really enjoyed it, and I really liked the ending. The ending I could see being divisive, but I liked it, and I am someone who's very picky about my endings. Most people probably won't like it, to be honest, because I don't like endings that most people like. So that was Gone Girl. Sharp Objects I also rated, I think, like a 3.5, and then Dark Places I rated a 3. I am very interested in watching the mini series for Sharp Objects. I want to see how they did it. I do not want to watch the show or the movie for dark places. I might, but I don't have any interest right now. And I'm kind of on the fence about Gone Girl. I think it's gonna all depend on how I'm feeling. So I wish that I would have been smart enough to do like a video for you all where I literally read all 3 of them and then watched all 3 of them and talked about it. But I wasn't smart enough, and now I finished all 3 and I physically can't go back in time. That being said, Gone Girl, gone get. Now let's talk about Discord of Gods. So this is the 5th and final book in the Chorus of Dragons series by Jen Leons. This is the one where the first book is called The Ruin of Kings. I didn't update my bookmark earlier when I found my new spot. Anyways, I have been really enjoying this series up until now. I rated book 1 a 5-star, book 2 a 4.5, book 3 a 3-star, which honestly I'm contemplating going back and lowering because I really did not like book 3 at all, and I'm considering giving it a 2-star. We'll talk probably at my wrap up about that, to be honest. And then I gave book 4 a 4-star. This one so far, I am just feeling neutral about. I wish it was absolutely in love because this cover is gorgeous and I love purple and gold together, and I want them to make beautiful, beautiful words come out of there because I want to love this book so much. But I'm not loving it, but I'm not hating it. Right now I'm kind of leaning towards a 3-star, which is why I'm thinking about going back and changing my rating on book 3 because they are not the same. Book 3 like did things wrong and made me mad, whereas this book is not making me mad, it's just not making me happy. And at this point I can't really tell you what's going on, but it is a high epic fantasy series with lots of queer representation and lots of people of color representation, and we're following mainly this man named Kieran. The first book is kind of his story and how he came to be where he is, and then after that each book is kind of delving around different issues in this land, all relating to this one person that you meet in book 1 who is the big bad guy, and the big bad guy here is leading up to the final big bad, and Kieran and team are coming to fight big bad. That's kind of where we're at with this. I'm hoping to finish it tomorrow. Like I said, I have sneezed literally so many times today. It was at least more than 50. It's ridiculous how much I am sneezing right now and just blowing my nose. I feel absolutely fine, minus the fact that I can't stop sneezing. And it's not even like I'm really blowing a ton of like gunk out of my body. It's just sneezes constantly. And I'm not someone who sneezes often, so I'm getting very annoyed and I don't know what to do besides take an antihistamine, which will knock me unconscious. So I'm putting that off as long as possible, and I am going to sit down and edit my video and eat some dinner and then maybe take one and just go to bed because I can't stop sneezing. I did finish the Discord of Gods today before my loan was due back. It was literally like counting down the hours and I was like, oh God, I've got to finish this book. Did not like the ending. One thing I have said many times on my channel is that I do not like convenient endings where just like everything works out and it's all perfect and the good guys are happy and the bad guys are sad or dead or whatever, and everything just lines up perfectly and it's just a convenient perfect ending. And I felt like that's what this entire book was, especially the ending to this book, which makes me really disappointed because I feel like one of the things I've really loved about this series is most of the books, I think pretty much all of them, to be honest, I'd have to check, have had fantastic endings. Book 1, such an amazing ending. It like wrecked me. And then book 2's ending was even better. Like that's one of my favorite endings of all time in book 2. And then 3 and 4 weren't bad, but they didn't necessarily like punch me in the gut like 1 and 2 did. And then this one was crap, in my personal opinion. I could see how people would like it. I could understand that. I did not. Other than that, nothing seemed really memorable in this book. Nothing really seemed like it was mattered to the story. It felt a lot to me like convenient things were just happening so that the plot progressed, and that a lot of book 3, 4, and 5 could have been put together or stretched, or I don't know. I just feel like book 3 was way too fast and book 5 was way too fast and book 4 was kind of in the wrong order, and so I would have just liked to have changed things up for the end half of this series. But it wasn't horrible. I didn't hate it. I didn't feel super happy with anything except for one very specific scene that I really, really liked with my favorite character, Galen. But other than that, the book didn't have really an effect on me, so I rated it a 3 out of 5 star because it also didn't have a negative effect on me. And I've learned very, very recently that what I should be rating a 2.5 is what I personally rate a 3 star. In my mind, a 3 star is equivalent to a 50%. It's not good, it's not bad. It's exactly average, middle, dead center. Whereas I totally understand a 2.5 should be that. So I don't think that way though. I really should like define what my ratings mean because apparently they're very different than other people. But also I will say that in my mind, I wouldn't necessarily recommend, oh God, another one. Oh, it's been like this all day, all day. There was one point where I sneezed, I think it was 8 times in a row, and I never sneezed that much. I don't understand. I think another one's coming. Oh my God. Anyways, I don't put a general recommendation on anything lower than a 3.5. So if I give a book a 3 star, it means that I might recommend it to a very specific person, but not to really anyone. But a 3.5 and up, I feel is a generally broad recommendation. Yeah, I think most people would like this book, or I absolutely loved it. It was great. That's more so for a 5 star. So I'm done with this. I did read, I think it was like 30 pages of Book of Night. It's downstairs. I am so at the point with that book where I just want it to be done, but I don't want to read it anymore. So I think I have like 70 pages left in it, and I have no motivation to read it. I'm gonna try to keep finishing it, but I would not be shocked if I come back to you guys later this week and say that I just DNF'd it or that I just skipped to the ending because I want it to be done. I want to know how it ends, but I do not have the motivation to get there. Wednesday. I might be a little bit weird right now because my mom finally convinced me to take a decongestant. I was pushing it off because I don't like how decongestant makes me feel. When I take Allegra, it's like I am high, like I cannot do anything. And when I take Claritin, it's this. This is what I am on Claritin. I have a hard time focusing and I have a hard time remembering anything. But she was like, Amanda, you're sick. You need to start taking it. I had made it this far though without taking it. God, I'm hoping that tomorrow's my last day with any kind of congestion because I'm so sick and tired of this. It's so not fun. Speaking of my mother, today's her birthday. Birthday. She is of an age. She's telling everyone her age. She's 58. She had a really good day. We went over and had dinner. I made dinner and then we all ate it. It was very good. I took my meds and then I made it. So like right when I was done cooking was like the sweet spot of my meds kicking in. And then we had like cake and ice cream and gifts, and it was a really nice evening, a really fun time. And tomorrow night we are going out with some like extended family for drinks and apps, and then dinner again at this really nice place downtown. I didn't take any video tonight because I was on my feet rushing back and forth and doing stuff, and I'm exhausted and I'm out of it. As you can tell, I have this distinct memory in my head of them bringing the cake out and me standing there like this. with no phone or camera. What was I saying? Oh, tomorrow I'm gonna try to get some filming done tomorrow for you all so you can see we're just going downtown, which I have filmed a few different vlogs of me doing stuff downtown before. My downtown is very small. It's like 4 blocks. Like there's 4 corners and it's just 1 square and that's pretty much it. None of this is to do with what I came here to tell you. So I finished, what is this book called? Book of Night. I finished Book of Night today, and I was gonna call it House of Night. Is that a book? There's a series. Oh, it's a vampire book. I'm not really into vampires. Anyways, I finished Book of Night. Not gonna lie, I skimmed like the last 50, 60 pages, but I did read like the whole last chapter pretty much in its entirety because I had been told that the ending was like, oh my god. I gave this book a 2-star. The writing was absolutely beautiful and absolutely gorgeous. Holly Black knows how to write, but the plot and the characters and anything happening in this book was so lacking. It was so boring the entire time. The like whole entire point of the plot, the whole entire point of the book, which is the plot, didn't come up until I think it was like around page 200 when we finally like had the purpose for our main character finding the Book of Night. I wanted to like it so bad because I was so pleasantly shocked by Quill Prince, but this was just a major disappointment for me. And online it says it's not a series, but I've heard a lot of people saying that they're excited for book 2. So I don't know what that means. And I could see how at the end, like in my personal opinion, you don't need to have another book after this because I know where it's going. Like from how it ended, yes, technically it is open, but I saw it as like an open ending, not as like a cliffhanger. And so I think that there wouldn't need to be another one. And I'm really conflicted because I don't keep 2-star books, but this is so pretty. And I don't have the dust jacket with me, but the dust jacket is also so pretty. I don't know. I have all the Holly Black's other books, but I would never reread this. A lot of people on Goodreads, I put my 2-star rating and then I was like, I'll write a review later. And a lot of people have been commenting on it. And I don't normally get a lot of comments. I get people like liking stuff, but I don't get a lot of comments. And people have been commenting like, what? And so it's pretty common though that like it has a very low score on Goodreads. Anyway, so you guys all saw that I picked up Plain Bad Heroines. I think I read like, yeah, 30 pages yesterday. I didn't get to read much because I finally said, no, you really need to be finishing House of Night. It's not the name of the book. Book of Night before you start a new book. So I read some of this and I put it down. I'm really enjoying this, but I am not going to continue on with it at this moment simply because I need to be reading books from TBR-opoly. And so at lunch today, I had my Kindle, but I didn't have this, and I finished Book of Night at my lunch break. So I was like, okay, I need to pick up something else. So I had my Kindle with me, so I picked up Game of Strength and Storm, I want to say is what it's called. And I'm at 10% in, and I'm actually really enjoying it. I don't think it'll be a 5-star. I think it reads very YA, but it's really fun, and I'm really enjoying it, and I like our characters. It so far is about these 2 girls, young women. I don't know exactly how old they are, but we're gonna probably guess teens. And one of them has the ability to like talk and control animals. Her father was arrested for reasons and she wants to get him free. And then this other girl wants to be the ruler of her land and she can control storms and she wants to like become the ruler of her land, but her land, there's like lots of little islands all kind of together in this world, and her land though is like one of the few where it still follows a patriarchy, so like she could never be the ruler because she was born female. So there's this there's like this birthday celebration for the empresses every single year that so many people, everyone can put their name into this lottery, and like random people are selected, and when you get selected you get to go and ask the empresses for a favor. And so both of our girls went to ask the empresses for a favor. One of them, they said, yes, we will do your favor, but in order for you to get your wish, you have to do something for us. That's kind of how it goes. Like you get whatever you ask for, but the empresses get something from you too. And what that character has to do is she is going to have to go and accomplish every other person's favor that was asked that year. I haven't figured out what the second girl is going to have to do yet, but I'm going to assume she's going to have to work with her because I know that this is a sapphic book and I'm pretty sure that they're going to have to work together at some point, just from how books work. I'm enjoying it. I like it a lot. I definitely thought it was going to be like a trial, and if they accomplished the trial, they would get their wish, but that's not exactly what it is. But it is kind of like a trial because they're going to have to go through lots of different hurdles. And I'm just going to set this down for a hot minute, but this is an adult horror. The first little bit was a little bit slow for my personal taste, but once we got into the actual story, because the first few bits were like prologue kind of stories, I really got into the story part. So this is like a mixed media horror, so there are like illustrations throughout, as you can see here, and there are some other illustrations throughout, and so there are kind of like journal clippings, like here there's a yellow jacket in the text, and then there's like footnotes, so it's really fun and really interactive. It is a horror about this school where in 1902 all of these young women, not all of these, 2 young women died, and the first little bit is telling you the story of how they died, and now it is believed that they're like haunting it, and now in like much more of a modern day, I don't know exactly when it takes place, but much more modern of a day, this young woman who, so far all I'm following is, I think we're gonna follow 3 though, but she got cast to be someone in the movie telling the story of the girls who died there. So Plain Bad Heroines, the title has already like been explained to me, which is really fun. And I'm enjoying it a lot. I like it. I like it. It's definitely slower than my personal taste. It's interesting enough and it's creepy. I've already like felt some horror elements, and I'm on page 30. There's this whole entire like running theme of yellow jackets throughout the whole entire story, and the author does a really good job with making them creepy. And so I find with horror, I don't mind if it's slow as long as it's creepy. With fantasy, I don't like slow fantasy. But with horror, I think some of the slowness can add to the eeriness and the creep element. And a lot of times with horror, the main focus, the main whatever it is, je ne sais pas, about the story isn't the plot. It is the creepy factor. And so I can deal with slow when it comes to horror. I just remembered just now that I was supposed to be reading this book for a secret TBR, and I forgot. Don't tell anyone. Shh, I'm not doing it now. I am out of it. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go now. It's been 11 minutes of me trying to talk to a camera. Lifeguard on duty. Swim at your own risk.
You're gonna die.
really fun. My friend and I took my Friday off. I swapped it. Basically today is going to be my work day and yesterday was my chill day, hang out, do whatever I wanted day. So we went to a bookstore and then we went to the park and we were gonna sit and read and picnic, but unfortunately we ended up talking and not reading at all. Like the whole point was to go and buy books to read there, but I'm just gonna be working on painting and stuff around here. I want to find the painting for you all that I did last week. Just some of the stuff I've been working on. I am like in love with painting skies, and look at the sky. And one of the things is I am adding in some reflective elements, and I think that's so much fun and I think that's so cool. I am working on putting some of these originals up on my Etsy and then getting prints, getting stickers, getting bookmarks, whatever made of them. And my goal would be with all of that is I would hand put the metallic elements onto it. There's only limited stuff on my Etsy right now if you're willing to give me a like. So I just want to tell you what books I bought yesterday really quickly, and then I'm gonna close up the vlog here so I can get it edited and uploaded. First book I got was The Troop. This is the book I actually went to the store for because I have read this previously and I'm going to be rereading it starting tomorrow with a friend. So I wanted to have a physical copy because I wanted to annotate it and I wanted to see how it was done. So there are some like very small illustrations. I wonder if that's on every, yeah, that's on every chapter. This book is one of my favorite books of all time. Definitely one of my favorite horror books. If you cannot deal with body horror though, like you absolutely should not read it. And it's very creepy, very eerie about children stuck on an island and there's this parasite with them that is like taking over their bodies and stuff. And it's very horrifying. It's very, and that's why it's one of my favorite horrors is because it so effectively did the horror. I also do recommend The Deep by Nick Cutter. I read that book for a video on my channel. I read this on my channel last year actually, but I read The Deep for a specific video, and if you watch that video, you get to see me cry heavily. The next book I picked up was In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, which is like a murder mystery, dark academia, a bunch of, I think it's like 6 or so students. A murder happens when they were in college and now it's like a class reunion and they're coming back together and they're trying to figure out who done it. I am going to be buddy reading this in July. So I saw it at the store and I was like, oh, while I'm here, I might as well pick it up and have it for when that comes. And I'm very excited. So, okay, it does say 6. Next up, I picked up this. So I was really excited when I saw this. I have no clue what this book was. I didn't know anything about it beforehand. I went to the bookstore and I specifically wanted 3 things. So I wanted The Troop, which was a book I've read and I know I've liked, and I wanted a physical copy of. I wanted a book that I had plans to read and needed to pick up, and I wanted a book that I knew nothing about and sounded good to me and I could just pick it up without having any influence from the outside world and just read it. So that's what this was. And I did read the little blurb, which is really interesting for paperback. The blurb is on the inside and it sounds like it's going to be my kind of horror. It reminds me a little bit of Rules for Vanishing, which is one of my favorite books of all time. It's such a good book. And it's talking about how there's this small town where there's this woman is horrifying to look at. I won't go into detail, but the summary goes into detail. People just like live with her, like coming into their houses and like haunting them and doing these horrible things. I'm guessing this is her. And suddenly one day they like have decided like they will just live like this because if they do, like she won't spread to the rest of the world kind of a thing. And so one day though, a bunch of teenagers decide to document it and then also I think try to escape the small town. And so some of the story is told in like day 1 elements, and I think some of it, like this is more novel, but I do believe that I saw when I was flipping through that some of it is like video that has been transcribed, diary entries, and some other stuff. I'm not seeing it right now, but I definitely know that it's going to follow some type of timeline because part 1 says today ? #stoning. Finally, we went to a used bookstore and I picked up The Chemist, which I did not know was a thing. I thought that Stephanie Meyer, who is the author of this, had written Twilight and had written The Host, and I didn't know she had written anything else. So this is a standalone novel. And the reason why I grabbed it, I have not read Twilight. I have plans to read Twilight this year, but I don't think it says it on this edition, but there were like a couple editions at the store, and this is the one I decided to pick up. The other edition, it said from national bestseller Stephanie Meyer, who wrote The Host, and it didn't mention Twilight. This one mentions Twilight, unfortunately. So I was like, well, if it's a standalone, which it is, and Stephanie Meyer wrote it, I love The Host. I loved it. I just recently reread it and it was so good. I was like, even if this one's not as good, I want to check it out and I want to read it and I want to have it for my shelf to go next to The Host because I want to know. But I'm really hoping to get at least these 2 books on my June TBR, which I will be filming either later today or tomorrow. So stay tuned, that'll be Friday's video. I am feeling a lot better now. It's super gloomy out, so I'm just gonna have a day where I am sitting and working and hopefully reading. I hope you're having a good time. I appreciate each and every one of you. I don't remember how my outro goes, but until next time, I will talk to you in the comments. Bye!